We were standing in the middle of a crowded rooftop party. When I made the joke that ruined my marriage, it was one sentence, said with a smile, delivered like a harmless laugh, and I truly believed it would land as humor. I didn't realize it would be the moment my husband stopped seeing me as his wife. My name is Rebecca. I'm 35, and this happened in New York City. The party was thrown by one of my coworkers to celebrate her promotion. Music was loud. Drinks were flowing. The skyline glowed behind us. Everyone looked confident, successful, happy, or at least pretending to be. My husband, Chris, stood beside me holding a drink, quiet as always. He wasn't the type to command attention. He didn't tell big stories or laugh the loudest. He listened. He observed. He spoke when he had something to say. I used to love that about him. Somewhere along the way, I started resenting it. That night, I felt invisible. The group we were talking to was loud and playful. Couples were teasing each other, bragging about romantic gestures, expensive trips, grand surprises. One woman joked about how her husband still planned dates like they were teenagers. Another talked about surprise gifts and handwritten notes. Everyone laughed and clapped like it was a competition. Then someone turned to me and said, "So, what's Chris like as a husband?" I should have smiled and said, "He's amazing." I should have said, "I'm lucky." I should have protected him. Instead, I laughed and said, "Honestly, I might need a new husband." The words left my mouth too easily. People laughed. Not loudly, not comfortably. The kind of laughter that fills space when no one knows what else to do. I felt the tension, but instead of stopping, I leaned into it. Ego does that. It makes you reckless. I added, if anyone knows a man who actually takes initiative, let me know. That's when the air changed. I felt it before I saw it. The smiles around us faded. A few people looked away. Someone took a long sip of their drink. And Chris didn't move. He didn't laugh. He didn't look angry. He didn't look hurt. He just stared at his glass like something inside him had gone quiet. For a second, I thought he didn't hear me. Then he slowly set his drink down on the table beside him. The movement was calm, deliberate, almost respectful. That scared me more than if he had snapped. He turned toward me, finally meeting my eyes. And when he spoke, his voice was low, steady, and colder than anything I had ever heard from him. "Well," he said, "if you're joking about replacing me in public, maybe it's time I stop pretending this is a marriage." The rooftop went silent. No music, no laughter, no conversation. Just the wind and a dozen people frozen in place. I felt my chest tighten. Chris wasn't done. "You make comments like that," he continued, "because you think they're harmless, because you think I'll just stand here and take it. But you forgot something." He paused, not for drama, but because he didn't rush his thoughts. People stop trying when they realize they're only being tolerated, not respected. Someone nearby whispered, "Oh my God." My mouth opened, but nothing came out. Chris looked around briefly, then back at me. "You don't need a new husband," he said quietly. "You need to learn how to value the one you already had." That word, had, hit me like a slap. I reached for his arm. "Chris, I was just joking." He gently stepped back. "No," he said. "You were testing how far you could go." I felt my face burn. My heart started racing. He straightened his jacket, picked up his phone, and added one final sentence that shattered whatever hope I had left. "And congratulations. You found the line." Then he walked away. No yelling, no insults, no scene, just a calm, final exit. People stared at me like I had just dropped something fragile and watched it shatter. One woman shook her head. Another muttered, "That was brutal." I stood there alone, surrounded by people but never more exposed in my life. I went home that night expecting a message. A call. Something. Nothing came. The next day, Chris sent a short text. "I'm staying with a friend. We'll talk when you're ready to listen instead of perform." That sentence hurt more than anything he said at the party. We talked a week later. Calmly, painfully, honestly, he told me he felt mocked. Small, unappreciated. That my jokes had stopped feeling like jokes a long time ago. That night wasn't the beginning. It was the end. I cried. I apologized. I promised to change. But apologies don't rewind moments. Respect doesn't come back just because you regret losing it. We separated quietly a month later. No lawyers screaming. No dramatic posts online. Just paperwork and distance. Now, when I replay that night in my head, I understand something I didn't before. I wasn't joking because I was funny. I was joking because I wanted validation. I wanted attention. And I used the person who loved me most as the punchline. His reply wasn't cruel. It was honest. And honesty delivered calmly is far more devastating than anger. I lost my husband the moment I made him a joke in front of others. And that is a lesson I will carry for the rest of my life.